Hi guys, this is UnstableVoltage, and I thought today I would do a little video for you of the new Firaxis remake of XCom Enemy Unknown. I was a huge fan of the original game, clocked up more hours than I care to admit to, and I thought it would be nice to put a little video together for you and just show you some of the major differences in this release compared to the original. Now, there is a multiplayer aspect to this game as well. I'm not going to go into that today, because that's a bit more complicated, so we're just going to look at the single player. I have played through the first 4 or 5 missions. They are very much tutorial missions. They lead you by the hand. You're very limited to what you're allowed to do, so I thought it was probably a little bit boring to show you that. It does have quite a bit of narrative as well, so I thought cutting those out would be good because there aren't going to be any spoilers for you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to jump into the game at a save point I had from earlier, and let's just get that loaded up. Very quick loading times on the PC version. So first of all, we will look at the strategical layer, so what you see here in the base. Now this is the new layout for the base. If you remember the original XCOM UFO defense, everything was viewed from a top-down viewpoint. In here you get this lovely little ant farm view where you can see all of your individual buildings. Everything is animated. You've got your hangar there at the top of the base, and you can click on all of these different facilities to zoom in on them and exit back out. You've got your mission control here, which is the classic globe that you had in the original XCOM. Let's get back out of there. And you've got various other rooms, the situation room where you can keep a track on all of the countries and their funding. Now, one fundamental difference you will notice with this version of XCOM is in choosing where you can place your base. In the original XCOM, you could put a base wherever you wanted. You could actually pinpoint location on the map. And this was useful for several reasons. You could pick a location that maximised the amount of satellite coverage you had for detecting UFOs. The more area you could cover, the easier it was to respond to UFOs in orbit. The limitation you have now on this version of XCOM is there are only 5 places where you can actually choose to place your base. And you can't actually pick a specific location. They're all predetermined for you. So you have my base here, and I selected the Europe starting location. There's also a starting location in Africa. There's a base location in Asia, which looks like it's on Japan there. We've got a base location in North America, in the States. We have a base in South America as well. So you get to choose one of these 5 locations for your base. Now, what you get for doing that, depending on which location you choose, is some sort of bonus. So for example, if you pick your base in North America, you will get, I believe it's 50% reduction on your costs for aircraft and maintenance costs. If you choose to put your base in South America, alien autopsies are completed instantly. I believe the bonus for being in Europe reduces the cost or time of workshops and scientists. So let's move back out of here. One other thing you will notice as well is these little satellites floating around. And what these allow you to do is, because you can only place your base in one specific section of the map, you can actually put these satellites down to cover other countries. This increases the amount of land that you can actually watch. So I've got one there over Germany, I've got one there over China, and you can only have 2 satellites for every satellite uplink you have in your base. But it's really worth having these because it increases the amount of funding that you get. Now, even though you're only allowed to have one base in this version of XCOM, you do actually have the ability to station interceptors at the other bases. So there's no need to build additional bases with workshops and laboratories. There's no need to have several Sky Rangers with troops positioned at each base. All you need is to assign some Sky Rangers just so that you can intercept from them. So let's get back out of there and have a look at the base in its entirety. First of all, a lot of the micromanagement has been reduced. You no longer have to order individual weapons for your troops, such as the standard pistols and rifles and grenades. All of that is taken care of for you automatically. As far as scientists and engineers go, again, you don't have to hire them. They are either given to you as rewards for completing various missions, or you will get them by building more laboratories or more workshops. So this is the main laboratory, and when we go into this room, we have the option to choose our research project, and we can begin another one if we so wish. Go back out of there. So very much like it was in the original. And we can also go through the archives and look at anything we've already researched. And if we click on engineering, that will take us to our workshop, where we can build both items and satellites. I believe later on here, this is where we will have the option of building the sort of alien technology intercept craft and transport craft that we should see late game. You also have the option here to build facilities. Now this is essentially how you build the base. In order to build in a specific section here, you first have to excavate that area, and you also have to build the access lift down to be able to build next to it. The deeper you go, the more expensive it gets. Now cash is a very important thing. The credits that you have in this version of XCOM are very, very limited. And your engineers are actually unable to mass produce weapons and items that you can just sell to make a profit, which is one of the things you could do in the original game. So even if the Council of Funding Countries completely cut you off and you had no income from them, you could actually still just manufacture things in your workshop and sell them to make money. You haven't got the ability to do that. There is a grey market where you can sell some of the items that you have rescued from missions, but the amount of credits you get for them is very little, and they're probably worth more to actually keep a hold of them than to sell them for a few measly credits. You will also find you get bonuses for placing specific installments next to each other. So for example, if you build a workshop and place a second workshop next to it, you will actually get a reduction in the material costs used for producing things. If you place two satellite uplinks next to each other, there's a bonus for that. And power stations, if you put power stations next to each other, it will increase the power output from them. So you do have to put some forethought and planning into how you're going to lay the base out. Here we've got the barracks where you can view the soldiers. Now one thing you will notice here on my sort of top 4 soldiers, they have a class. This is one of the fundamental differences in this newer version of XCOM. In XCOM UFO Defense, all of your soldiers were essentially the same, and their abilities were very much dependent on the weapon that you gave them. Here, as a soldier is promoted from a rookie up to a squaddy, they get given a class, and it's automatically assigned, and it will be one of these 4 classes: heavy, sniper, assault, or support. So like in the original game, all new troops start at the level of rookie, and they have to go on a mission to be able to get promoted to a squaddy, and then they will get their class. There is the ability later on through research and paying some very hefty credits to get an ability that allows new soldiers to be recruited at the rank of squaddy, and they will automatically receive their class when you hire them, which is through the Officer Training School. So you can see 2 options we have here is for squad size. Now this is another major difference you have. In the original XCOM, depending on the size of the landing craft, you could take, I believe it was 14 soldiers in the Sky Ranger, up to 26 soldiers in the Avenger. Now 26 soldiers wasn't very useful, mainly because you couldn't actually carry enough equipment to give them all a gun, and you would find you'd end up with a ship full of rookies that you'd just send out and use as cannon fodder. Well, you're very limited here. You only start off with the ability to take 4 soldiers, and through the Officer Training School you can increase that from 4 to 5 and then up to 6, which costs credits, and you also must have at least 1 soldier of a particular rank in order to be able to do that. Now you also have, in this version of XCOM, shivs, which are basically XCOM Enemy Unknown's version of the heavy weapons platform in UFO defense. Now, they take up 1 troop instead of 4. In the original game, they took up 4 game tiles on the battlefield, which meant to put 1 in the back of the landing craft, you had to take away 4 soldiers. So even though you're limited to the number of soldiers you can have, at least if you decide to take a Shiv along, a heavy weapons platform, it's only going to replace 1 of your soldiers. You can hire more soldiers. They're the only personnel you can hire, as the ability to hire the scientists and the engineers has now been taken away from you. If we go back into view soldiers, we'll just double click on one of them and go into that. And what you can see here, this is our heavy, his class is up there. If we go into his abilities, you see this is essentially the upgrade tree. So when a rookie gets promoted to a squaddy and becomes a heavy, he gets the choice of 1 ability, which is essentially a rocket launcher. Then, as he's promoted through the various ranks, you get normally 2 options to choose from. There's no right or wrong option with these. They are very much equally sought after. The few upgrades that I've done, I've really sort of had to wrestle with myself over which option to take, because they've both been equally useful as one another, and this is going to come into play much more later game. You can also adjust the loadout of your soldiers. Now again, unlike on the original game where you had a backpack and a belt and various pockets where you could stash ammo, grenades, equipment and even dead bodies, you're very limited to what you can carry. So you essentially have 4 slots. You have your armor slot, you have your main weapon slot, you have your secondary weapon slot, which in most cases is a sidearm, but in this case it's the rocket launcher. That can also be replaced with certain things like stun guns, and then you have your equipment slot, which is used for things like grenades and med kits and smoke grenades and scanners and that sort of thing. The customization is still there. You can change the name of your soldiers. Soldiers also get a nickname as well when they get up to a certain rank, and you can change the look of all the soldiers and everything in there as well, but the cosmetics side of things isn't really all of that important. If we go into the hangar, you can see we've got 4 spaces to basically place our interceptors. So as you can see, this is my base in Europe. We've got 2 interceptors. We can have up to 4. One of them is repairing because it had a bit of an encounter with a UFO. And as you can see, North America, South America, Asia and Africa, each of those can have 4 interceptors, but we haven't got any place there yet. So for me, what I want to be doing next really is ordering an interceptor and placing it in Asia so it can cover the area of China that is being scanned by the satellite I have there. Now, one other thing that you've got here is there is no longer any base invasion, so the aliens cannot invade your base like they could in the original game. Lead designer Jake Solomon, in an interview with GameSpot, did say that it was an idea they were toying with for a while. They even had a prototype of it, but they just couldn't get it to work to a level that they wanted, and they feel that because you can only have 1 base, the ability to lose that base or have it damaged or destroyed by the aliens would make the game a little too hard and a little unfair. So that's a lot of the major changes that you actually see here with the strategic layer. So what we're going to do now is we are going to go back to the mission room, and you can move the map around like you could in the original. It's a lot less interactive. What you've basically got is a big fast forward button. You can no longer pick the time interval, and if you hit that, basically you will scan till something happens. So what you've got here is a little video cutscene just kicking in because my alien containment facility has just finished being built. And there is the prompt to tell me that. So I can go in if I wish, build a new facility. I did have a plan of what I was going to put here, but I can't remember at the moment, so I'm going to leave that for now. And I will go back out of here. So this base really does look awesome compared to the original. It's so nice to be able to see all of the little people running around inside. So we'll hit scan again. Hopefully something a little bit more interesting will pop up. And there we go, being told that some research is complete. Once again, we'll leave that and carry on. That's a construction project complete from the workshop, so we'll carry on again. And there we go, we've got an incoming communication. So I'm going to go to the situation room, and this is probably just my monthly update. No, it isn't. There we go, target extraction. So what you have in XCOM is you have various different types of mission. So you still have your classic terror missions, you have your landed UFO missions and crashed UFO missions. You also have abduction missions, which are fairly straightforward. It's basically like a UFO crash site without the UFO. This one here is an extraction mission, which is essentially an escort mission. You have to find a target, you have to then bring them back to the extraction zone, to the back of the Sky Ranger, and then clear out the rest of the aliens. There is also a bomb mission where you have to basically find a bomb within a set number of turns and defuse it before it blows. Also with those missions you do get these little power nodes spread around the map that you can deactivate to be given extra turns. And we get specific rewards, so here we'll get some cash, we'll get panic reduction, and we'll get 2 engineers. So as I said before, you don't hire engineers, they're literally given to you as rewards. So what we've got here, you can see it's auto selected our 4 most likely troops. We've got our support, we've got our heavy, we've got our sniper, we've got our assault. You can do some basic editing here, but for the purposes of this, let's get going. So little cutscene. Again, loading time is very quick, and this is actually running on my 5400 RPM hard drive, and it still loads everything in very quickly. So the Sky Ranger's flown out to the site of the mission. We'll begin the assault.
The area of engagement for this mission will be in India.
Tells us a little bit about the mission, and there we go, it's loaded in, we're ready to go. So we have to find the target, escort the target safely to the extraction point, and then protect the target at all costs. Well, that one should be fairly obvious. So let's get into the mission and show you the major differences now in the tactical layer. So one of the first things to note about the tactical layer is that you no longer have randomly generated maps. In the original, all of the maps were generated from a random seed. In this game, all of the maps have been handcrafted. Now, Jake Solomon is credited for saying that the game currently has over 100 maps, and you should be able to play through the game at least twice before you see any repetition in them. The maps also have multiple spawn points, so you may occasionally see the same map, but you'll land in a different area and the aliens will be in a different spot. So we've got a very specific mission here. Now, if I take the camera up a level, you'll see the back of the Sky Ranger there. Obviously, as a mouse over it will disappear, so I can see beyond it. And this little square box here is the extraction point. So this is where we need to get our guy back to. Now, a couple of things that you're going to notice. First of all, the UI is very streamlined. The original game had a lot of buttons. You could go prone. Well, you couldn't go prone, but you could crouch behind cover. That is now done automatically, so you can't crouch, but you can go behind cover. So as you can see, as I actually move the waypoint box over this square here, you see a little half full shield, which is half cover, so that will reduce some damage or reduce the enemy's chance to hit. There's also high cover, as you can see there near that statue. That's a full shield, so that would be high cover. Now, each of my guys has this little flag on them. These little boxes at the top represent their health. So this guy has 7 hit points. The little sort of heartbeat monitor underneath is their panic level. And then these 2 little chevrons at the bottom, that is actually your ability to move. So in the original game you had your time units, which were essentially a resource that you could spend, and you could perform pretty much any number of actions in any order until your time units run out. You're now actually very limited as to which moves you can perform, because you can only perform 2 moves per turn, and some moves will automatically end your turn. So in most cases, if you fire your gun, even if it's your first action, it will end your turn. So you can't actually fire then move, you can only move then fire. There are a few ways around that. For example, I think it's the Heavy gets an ability called Bullet Storm or Bullet Swarm, which allows him to essentially fire first and then move. Now, as you can see, as I move the cursor around, I've got this blue outline. This blue outline is the furthest distance I can move in one action. Once I've moved into the blue area, I can then move into the yellow area for my second action. Or I can move into the yellow area all in one go, which will basically be dashing. So if I move into the yellow area, and I'll just do this as an example, it's probably really a bad idea to just run out here, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm going to get him to dash forwards.
Really use a hand with these things.
And he's now in high cover. Just a bit of chatter going on from some NPCs there. So he's in high cover, and he's now used both of his actions for this turn because he dashed. Now, there is an advantage to dashing. If an alien takes a reaction shot at you, it's got a higher chance of missing if you're dashing. So let's get some of these other guys forward. I never like to run them too far forward. The thing with this version of XCOM is you're very committed to the action you take. It was very easy in the original XCOM to just nudge your troops forward one tile at a time, and if you spotted an alien, you could stop. So let's move everyone forward to somewhere that seems relatively safe. And occasionally you get these little sort of action cutscenes. Now, here's one of the new aliens added to the game. This is the Thin Man. He's quite easy to beat. There's nothing really special about him, to be quite honest. Now, the problem I've got here is it's instantly gone into the alien's turn, because I've run out of turns. And you can see the yellow shield. Now, even though I'm in cover, I'm actually being flanked. So, because I'm being flanked, that now means that he actually has a higher chance to hit me. Now, he's in cover here, it's only half cover, and I'm going to take a shot at him with my sniper. Now, the thing with snipers is snipers can't actually move and fire in the same turn, because firing actually takes both actions. Again, you can get snapshot later on, which allows you to be able to do both for a accuracy penalty. So if I click on fire, I can see here I've got my options. I can fire, I can headshot, which is an ability specific to the sniper, which gives me an increased chance to crit, but it does have a cooldown of X number of turns. I can go on to Overwatch, which essentially leaves me one turn remaining so that I can take opportunistic fire if an alien runs in front of me, or I can throw a grenade, or I can hunker down, which basically increases my defense. But I'm going to take a shot at him. 58% chance to hit. Don't really need to crit because he's only got 3 health. They're really weak. So let's take the shot.
Kill confirmed.
And that's a headshot. He's down. Now, these guys, when they explode, they do explode in a big puddle of poison, and that does do damage to your troops over time, and it also affects your accuracy as well. So I've taken the shot with my sniper. He's now out of turns. So we shall start moving troops down.
Positive enemy contact.
If you're looking for Hutch, he's gone. Made a break down the street towards.
And there we go. Now we have Sectoids, which is the classic alien from XCOM. So there are a few new types of aliens that have been added to this version. We've not seen them all yet. We definitely confirmed we've got the sectoids, we've got cyberdiscs, we've got chrysalids, we've got floaters and heavy floaters, we've got mutants. They're the ones that we are confirmed on. Now, here again I've dashed, I've got into the yellow area, so I can't actually take a shot at him with this guy. I could possibly... Yeah, my heavy could possibly hit him, but there's probably going to be a really low % chance. And there's another one. Now here's another one of the differences you'll notice here. As soon as you spot an alien, even if it's your turn, the alien will run into cover. And this eliminates several things from the original game. First of all, the aliens no longer shoot at you out of the darkness, which is one of the things that added a lot of atmosphere in the original game. So that can no longer happen, which is a bit disappointing. There's always this little cutscene where the alien spots you, you spot the alien, and they scuttle and hide in cover. Which is a bit unfair because you get no such luxury of being able to get to cover. This is my assault guy. He's got a shotgun. He's designed to get in the face of aliens. So let's move him forwards. Now he can see 2 aliens. Now I do still have a move left on this guy on my heavy. The problem is there's not really an awful lot that he can do, so I'm going to put him in Overwatch, and there's a chance he may get to fire on the alien's turn. So now the alien's got to go. And this is a mind link, so these sectoids can actually link together, and this guy here, who's the recipient, has actually now essentially received a buff. He now has an extra hit point, and I believe he also has extra accuracy as well, which is fantastic because he's just shot me in the face. That is definitely XCom. Now, one thing you can do here that's very useful is if you can actually kill the one that is performing the mind link, it will actually kill the alien that is performing the mind link on. So my sniper might be able to hit him. No, doesn't have a line of sight on the second alien, which is a bit of a pain. Although I could still take the shot at this guy, so... Oh no, I was selecting my heavy. Oh, there you go, lack of concentration. But never mind, we got him anyway. So we'll try this again. We'll select my sniper. Yeah, my sniper doesn't have any targets available anyway, so... Either way, that was probably the best option. And we'll have a look down here. This is my support guy, so he's not the best of shots, but he does have a 53% chance to hit, so why not? Now we can also drop a smoke grenade, which will actually make it harder for the aliens to hit us, but there wasn't really any need to do that. Now we've got this little yellow arrow here. I'm assuming this is the guy that we need to rescue. We can actually rotate the camera around as well, which you couldn't do in the original XCom. So I'm going to start moving my guys down here, and again, dashing is not always the most sensible thing to do. Oh, and look, there's number 3. Sectoids usually come in 3s in this game, so if you do stumble across one of them, be prepared to find more. Once again, my sniper's not in a great position to take a shot, so I'm going to move him forwards. He can cover quite a lot of the map from this point. He can see him, but once again, he can't fire. We may be able to get a grenade across there. It's unlikely, it's a bit too far. Yep, grenades are one of the few free aiming weapons. Grenades and rocket launchers, you can actually pick where on the battlefield it's going to land. Now, one of the things you can no longer do in this version of XCom is actually take one of your soldiers and fire a shot at a wall or an obstacle to shoot it down. You can only actually fire directly at an alien. But you can still use grenades. All the terrain's fully destructible, so you can use grenades, rockets and explosives in order to be able to do that. So my turn hasn't ended, so obviously I've still got something left to do, which is just going to be my sniper. He's got 1 turn left now. There isn't really an awful lot that he can do, to be honest, so I'm just going to get him to hunker down because you might as well increase his defense just in case. So that's all my actions used up, and now the aliens get a turn. And he's probably going to do something nasty. Oh, he missed. Well, that doesn't happen very often. So, let's just go back to the sniper now, because he's probably in the best position to hit him. Now, what you'll actually find here with snipers is that snipers are more accurate the further away you get. So you want to keep your snipers at the back and out of the way.
He's down.
Actually, very surprised at the moment that every single shot I've taken is hit, because that is not normally how XCOM works. So I'm going to run around to the side of this van.
You're human. Thank God.
And there's our guy. So what we need to do now is get this guy all the way back here, which doesn't seem like too much of a problem, because there shouldn't be that many aliens in between, but there will be. So we do have direct control over this guy, so I can actually move him into a specific spot. All he can essentially do is walk, dash, or hunker down. I don't see a lot of point in moving all of my guys out, but let's just drop down. Now, another mechanic you've got in this game as well is that you can actually hear aliens as well as being able to see aliens. So occasionally an alien will be out of sight, but you'll see some little wavy lines on the screen and you'll get an audio cue from one of your soldiers just to indicate that he's actually heard something. So I don't want to move anybody else, so what I can do is I can just end my turn and let the aliens have a go, but what I might as well do is at least put this guy in Overwatch, so that if anything does pop up, he can take a pot shot at them. And this will probably be thin men, yeah. I've noticed this on the first couple of missions. Thin men have a habit of dropping in on these rescue missions, and usually going into Overwatch as well. And he's landed over there, so maybe our sniper can actually take him from there. You can certainly see him. 78% chance to hit. This is probably the one that's going to miss. Oh, headshot. Yeah. They should definitely be some sort of achievement for this one. Right. So let's get our VIP guy.
Should be getting its equipment from your suppliers.
He doesn't have an awful lot of places to get into cover up here, so I want to be careful where I put him. So I'm going to put him here. It's only in half cover, but it's better than nothing at all. And I'm going to get my heavy and move him up here. Again, it's half cover, but it's better than nothing. And I will put my support guy on Overwatch. And I will bring my assault guy back a little bit. And the aliens turn again. Nothing appeared to happen, so we will get my VIP and we can tab through, which is what we've done there. Let's get him here because that's full cover. And let's bring our heavy down here. And we will bring our... Oh, not a lot of cover. Different classes can actually move different distances as well. Obviously he's taken a bit of damage. But we'll end the turn there. There we go. So something's going to drop in. And right in front of us. Now, as you can see, as soon as he spawns in, he's on Overwatch, which means if I try and move, he will automatically take a shot at me. And here I'm actually being flanked, so and so is the VIP. So I really need to take him out. I'll have a go with the sniper. I'm quite close, but I still have a 75% chance to hit.
Nailed him.
Wow, that's a 100% hit rate so far. One thing you will notice as well is your weapons do need reloading. You can switch between your sidearm, which is always an option. Your sidearm doesn't actually take an action point to switch between your main weapon and your sidearm. You don't carry ammo and different ammo types like you did in the original game, but you can just reload. So sometimes you will find that you're unable to fire because you don't have any ammo left.
If I make it out of here alive,
so can we actually get him to the extraction point? No, that's a tree. We can nearly get him there, but not all the way. So I'm going to put him there in cover. And hope we don't get too many surprises. So I'm going to put my heavy into Overwatch. So you really do have to think a lot more about what you do with your troops. As you can see early on in the game, I did run people out, maybe a little bit too far, maybe a little bit too fast, and I was punished for it. Now luckily I didn't actually lose a soldier. You do have various different difficulty modes. You've got easy, you've got normal, you've got classic, which represents a difficulty level similar to the original XCOM game, and you've got the harder difficulty level too. You've also got the option to enable Ironman Mode. Now Ironman Mode disables your ability to load or reload the game if you actually make a mistake. So once a soldier is dead, it's permadeath. Now that's always been the case, but what you could do in the past is if you did lose a soldier or something bad happened, you could just reload a previous save game and carry on. That's not how it works in Ironman Mode. You get one game save, it's an auto save. Every time something happens, it auto rewrites. So once a mistake is made, that's it. You've got to live with it. There's no turning back. So that's for the hardcore amongst us. I'll put my hands up and admit I'm not playing on that mode at the moment. We're just on normal. So VIP easily rescued.
you risked your lives for me.
And the mission's ended. If there had been any aliens left, it would have asked me to carry on and kill the rest of the aliens. So 6 aliens killed, no operatives lost. Lovely little cutscene. and then we'll get our debriefing, which will basically tell us how many alien corpses and what equipment and materials and things we've managed to salvage from the crash site. You can also see here some of my soldiers have been wounded. Again, that's very much true to the original, so they're going to be out of action for 5 and 8 days respectively, but they've also been promoted. So again, if we look at my heavy, I've got 2 options. My shredder rocket, which will basically mean my rocket will cause my enemies to take 33% more damage from any source for the next 4 turns, but the rocket blast itself is weaker than a normal rocket. Or I've got the option of suppression, which fires a special shot that grants reaction fire at a single target. So while you're suppressing an enemy, the enemy actually has a minus 30 aim penalty, and if the enemy then tries to move, I will get a free shot at it, basically. So those are the major differences. Now, like I said, this is only very sort of early on in the game. Most of these differences are game mechanics difference, which are easy to see sort of straight from the outset. I may do another video later on if anything new is uncovered, but for the time being that pretty much covers the majority of the major differences in the single player. So there is a multiplayer aspect of the game. That will be a separate video because it's quite an interesting thing. But I hope this has shed a little bit of insight into the game, especially those of you who are hardcore XCOM fans for the original. And at least you can see now that the game is quite a bit different in some respects. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's been dumbed down, but it has certainly had a lot of the micromanagement reduced. Saying that, the game does still feel very XCOM. When you're in the tactical phase, even though you might only have 4, 5 or 6 troops, it really does feel like XCOM. You have to put a lot of thought into each and every move. So I hope this has been useful to you. If you do like this video, then please subscribe. I'll be totally honest with you. As you can see, I'm just getting started here, and I'd like to carry on doing these videos for you. XCOM isn't going to be my my only video, but I thought as this has just come out and I'm such a huge fan of the game, I thought I had to do it, because one of the big things for me was knowing how true to the original this was, and how many differences there were going to be. So I hope you've found this useful, and it might give you a little bit of insight into it, so you can decide whether or not you want to go out and play this game if you haven't already. So thanks very much for taking the time to watch this video. I've been Unstable Voltage, and I will see you again soon.